Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Well, today I'm in Los Angeles and I've got the privilege to interview a Mr. Anderson. I'm not going to say too much about this gentleman at this moment in time, but I'm going to introduce him to you. And he's got an incredible story to share about, not only about himself, but about his father and also about the work he does, because he's part of the Anderson estates, and that's all I'm going to say to you at this moment in time. Mr. Anderson.
Yes. What's happening?
This is Mr. Anderson. He is Mr. Anderson in his own right, but also he is the son of the legendary actor and comedian Eddie Rochester Anderson. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank
it's a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure, actually.
Thank you. And you know what's really interesting? When I interview artists who are children of artists, I always like to honor the person themselves. We can talk about their father, their mother, but it's really nice to understand about the individual that stands before me now.
Right.
So, Mr. Anderson, who is Mr. Anderson in a nutshell, a peanut shell, a crab shell, pistachio shell?
All that. Pistachio, that's hard on the outside, soft in the inside. I get that. That's me.
Depends what type of teeth you've got.
That's, well, not so good now. Who am I? That's kind of interesting. I guess sometimes who you are is a reflection of what you do.
Definitely.
Right? So I'm a humanitarian. Mm-hmm. I'm the type of guy that I've always said someone else's success is my success.
Brilliant.
And that's true. So I'm a guy who, I don't know, real quick, when I was a little kid, about 6 years old, my father, being in the movie industry, he had surprised me one day. He came home with a Superman suit.
Okay.
But it wasn't your typical costume. It was the actual suit made from the studio.
Brilliant.
But it ended up having some extreme significance after you get a certain age and you start kind of reverse engineering your life, so to speak, and you kind of look at what really played a part in your life. What are those symbols and stuff like that?
The significance.
Yeah, the
that
significance
moment.
of it. Absolutely, that's a better word. And since that suit, it's kind of weird. It was almost like, I'm spiritual and I believe in all these different things that happen for a reason.
Definitely.
And so, long story short, having that suit represented that thing where not so much me being a Superman, but what Superman does, taking care of people. Taking care of people. That's what I'm saying. And kind of giving up your life, sort of putting it sort of secondary over other people, like by the grace of God, there I am, sort of thing. When I look at someone doing or having a hard time, someone who has less than me or whatever, I get emotional behind that, and through that emotion makes me react. I have I take action.
You wear your heart on your sleeve in a way.
Yeah, big time. I don't know if it's. I don't know if I could live my life without purpose. I really don't. And I'm not really trying to pump me up like that, but life is short. Life is really short. I mean, I'm over here 60 years old, and I still remember when I got the costume. Like I said, I was 6 years old. Now I'm 60, but I still feel the same person. I mean, there's a lot of old skin, shell over the top, like I said, but that soft part is still that inner child. Still here. He hasn't left. So, who is Mr. Anderson? I just recently did a sort of accounting of my services, and I've provided, before I did the hostile thing that you see and all of this, I was really, my interest was with homeless, battered women, people that were in prison, all sorts of those unfortunate circumstances. So I've done over 1 million nights of shelter.
In how many years?
In a little over 25 years.
Brilliant.
But I did the calculation just recently, because I'm trying to put some things together now, a movement called Lost and Found Legacy for my father as well, because there's a lot of things that he's done, and he was a real humble guy.
You can see that. I've actually watched a lot of stuff on YouTube about man. You can sense that in him.
He wouldn't tell you. I had to pry it out. As a matter of fact, I learned more about my father, I think, on the internet than what he was willing to tell me. Matter of fact, real kind of quick story. Just remember, I was very, very young.
You can remember that far back?
Damn, I wrote it down. That's the only way I had a diary. No, yeah, I had to go back. Damn, yeah, okay. So I remember sitting back then. There was maybe 3 or 4 television stations back then.
Yes.
I know I'm giving my age away and stuff like that, but there was only like NBC, ABC, some KNXT, whatever I even remember. So I remember sitting there, and my father came on television. That was a big to-do for me. So I was like, oh my God, Daddy! And I dashed, looking for my father all through this house here. Daddy! And I caught him, and he said, what is it? What are you going? You're on TV! Come on! So I dashed back to the TV, anticipating or expecting him to be behind me, celebrating as much as I'm celebrating. And I looked back, he wasn't there. And I was like, wow. So I run back in the kitchen because I know where he is. I said, Daddy, what are you doing? You're on TV. He said, you know what? He said, I got to tell you something, son. I said, what? Well, why now? He said, I never watched myself on television.
Why was that? Did he say why?
No, but that was later on in life when you kind of think back. I mean, you try to put things together. That's what I meant, a part of that humbleness. You kind of get what I'm saying? He wasn't tied into the celebrityism.
Yes.
You see what I mean? He did what he had to do, and maybe he even did that because he didn't even want to second guess himself on his performance. I did what I did, it's done.
That was it, yes.
Yeah, or the stardom thing, I don't want to celebrate. I don't want my ego into this thing here. Because he used to literally, even during the height of his sort of career, he would still walk these streets. And people would stop and do the whole thing. Can I have your autograph and this and that? He actually used to open up this house to all the kids in the neighborhood to swim.
Fantastic.
No one else had a swimming pool, and it was hot like it is now. And he would just open up and just like, come on, everybody, just come swim. So I think I got some of those things. Yeah, I'm a prisoner of those genetics, I think. Yeah.
It's a good place to be contained in, don't you think? Because within that containment, within that prison, so to speak, there's so much in there in terms of expansion. And what I'd like us to do now is just walk around the estate. It's called the Anderson Estate. Is that
Absolutely,
correct?
that is it.
And so this is where it all happened. And is this actually where your father lived?
This is it. Matter of fact, he built this home from ground up, and there were nothing but this was all empty lots and all of this stuff here. I mean, it was a development, and I think either he bought the first plot or whatever you call it, or there were only maybe 2 houses or something here, and this house only came here as a result of him not being able to build it anywhere else. He attempted to do this sort of structure here. This was his design. Matter of fact, it was designed by a very famous architect called Paul Williams. And Paul Williams is the same guy that built that sort of flying saucer sort of restaurant at LAX.
Okay.
And he's very, very popular. Very amazing architect. Everybody was hiring him. I mean, not just black, just all over Los Angeles, Hollywood, well-to-do, the whole bit. So he was amazing. So he tried to build the same house in other places, but there were red lines or red zones for blacks, and you couldn't live in certain areas. So this is where he ended up. This was not his first choice. He tried other places, but there was resistance. So he ended up building it here. That's how it ended up here. And this used to be called 37th Street. And a few years back, it's been a few years, maybe 10, 20 years, we had gotten the street to be called Rochester Circle. Yeah, we changed it. Yeah, so it was good.
That's a real honor, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what I'd like you to do now is to take a bit broader view of the house. I do like this. This is almost like a camper van, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an SUV. Absolutely, we actually drive people around. Yeah, some of the guests.
So what does it feel like for you, Mr. Anderson, to have come from such a place where such a legacy has been left, to be able to carry it on, and still in your own way? We talk about humbleness, and I believe we're going to keep coming back to this place of humbleness
Absolutely,
throughout the
very important.
interview. So, you know, when you've got this sort of legacy around you, how do you keep grounded in the midst of it? Because I'm sure when you go places, you are recognized not only for your father, but for what you have done as well.
God, it's a living organism. If that makes any sense, you're connected. I'm connected because of the word legacy, and that's big for me. So my father, he put in a lot of work, and I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that. And I tell people all the time when they ask me, "Are you going to fill your father's shoes?" And I'm like, I can't fill his baby shoes, but I'm still going to put my feet in his shoes. So I want this thing to continue to move on. So it's real huge for me. It's so huge, and like I just said, I wanted to continue to move forward and to do what it's been doing for more than just my family. This particular house and the legacy has probably housed, because this enabled me to buy other properties and stuff like this. So this is connected to people that have who've lived on Skid Road, lived in cardboard boxes, who are now PhDs. They've got their masters. They've got their own businesses. I've got countless people who went through this particular legacy who are right now are doing amazing. It's incredible. So in a way, I'm kind of selfish because it feels so good.
Is that wrong?
Yeah, no, it's not wrong, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't.
It feels so.
Because it's wholesome. You're coming from your heart space. Yeah. It's about intention, and you're seeing the results. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that.
It connects you to a higher source.
That's right.
It really does. So when you're walking and feeling, you get what I mean?
Oh yes.
It's different, you know. So you look around, and some people just see maybe money or materials. I don't see that. I see.
Her smile.
That's what I mean. That's what I see.
Smile.
Look at her smile. Look. That's what I mean.
Place.
Right. That's what I mean.
That she's put down the stuff to what it is, and she's in this safe space.
And you know, one of the main things that people tell me that I've been successful at, which is good, I don't do it all myself, because it has to be spirit that's connected, something more powerful than me.
That's right.
And what people often say to me is like, you know what, this place feels so much different than the other places that I've been. It feels like this is my family.
But that's coming from you. All that's coming down from your father.
That's
what you who he was,
right.
And those attributes are in you.
Right.
And when they're in you, you know, they
spreads.
disseminate and it spreads.
There you go.
You know, as soon as you walk through the gate,
Right.
you feel that energy of your home.
Yeah, you're hugged. It's an embracing, like you said. They feel safe.
That's right, and that's key.
And guess what? When I do these houses, people come over here and people are staying in my rooms and all that. There's no keys.
Oh wow.
There's no locks. And the first thing they do, people coming from elsewhere, cross waters, you know, foreigners, they're like, we don't have no keys. I said, like, don't worry about it. Just bear with it. Trust me. And they come back and say, I've never been in a place where I felt this safe without locks.
Yes. I don't know, for someone like me from the UK, because I like my space.
Yeah.
My space.
Yeah.
You know, I've been shopping with something underneath the door. You can't get
Right, exactly.
But that's fantastic. And what sort of services do you offer here, Mr. Anderson?
Well, right.
I think it's quite nice, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, it's good. You call me Edmund. That doesn't. Yeah.
No, Mr. Anderson's got a nice ring to it.
Doesn't
Mr.
it?
Anderson,
It's like the
yes.
Matrix.
That's right.
You just got to watch for these agents, you know what I'm saying? Because they're around. What was the question again?
the question was, what sort of services do you offer here at the house?
Well,
at
right
the
now,
Anderson House?
right now, it's called a hostel, and mainly I deal with the international market, people who are traveling to the United States, California, Los Angeles, and they stay with me a few days. Where first thing they do, I want to go to Hollywood, I want to go to the beach, and they want to go all these other places, but they still need a safe place to stay while they're traveling. And what we try to do is we try to offer as much assistance, making sure it's a smooth transaction. You know, we help them with where to go, how to get there. Certain people have their cars, some people don't have cars. There's a lot of situations that, first of all, people coming from a far distance, they're going to have a little fears.
Yes, definitely.
So why not embrace them and take some of that fear out, especially if they get lost or something, because you're brand new.
Yeah.
So my thing is to try to embrace you and say,
Can I have a hug?
yeah, I say like, you don't worry about anything, we got you.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it. We got you. Where are you going? Let us help you with that. You don't want no trial and error. You're only going to be here a few days. Trial and error, you can blow 2 days being lost.
Yes.
And you might end up in the wrong neighborhood.
So you provide something that's a smooth transition.
Absolutely.
And lots
That's
of good
my
music.
tip. Yeah, I got a little soul too. You think? I look like a square.
It's the shoes.
But yeah, but I had to make this square. You get what I mean?
So can you show us around a little bit more so that you've got the pool here?
This is the pool. This is the pool here. There's a mermaid in that pool. Kiki. Kiki's caught up. She ain't here.
Yeah, she don't want to be on camera.
So, I don't know. Will the camera see inside here?
Yeah.
Let's take a walk in here. This is my Austrian brother right here.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Hi, where are you from?
I'm from London.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm
We're
currently
doing an interview here.
All
Doing an
right.
interview with
So,
Esther.
what do you think about the place?
It's a beautiful spot
impromptu.
here. It's really beautiful. Historical, beautiful spot.
And how
With
long
really
have
kind people.
So how long have you been here?
Now it's I'm checking out today, so I checked out already. It's my
Okay.
4th day, but it's beautiful. I
And
spent
you're taking all the
really nice
love
days.
with you. You're taking
Yeah.
all that love. Yeah?
All the heat and a lot of love.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
My roots are from Macedonia, but I live in Austria, in Vienna. I'm born there.
That's a big difference. Well, I hope you have a great time, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll be back.
Yeah, I'm
Spread the
already
word.
here. I will stay in California some weeks more.
That's right. So this is always your home now.
Yeah, it's
Right?
I'll come back.
That's right.
So you can.
Okay, let me ladies first. Don't put me on camera not being a gentleman. Okay. So you kind of look. She's trying to hide. Get her. Get her. She's running. That's Anna. See? Scary cat. So this is called the rumpus room, and this is where when I grew up as a kid, there were those old-fashioned televisions in the corner right there. About those 4 TV stations. That's the 4 stations. And we still did what we call the ghetto thing. When one TV would go out, like the screen would go out, there would be a volume. And the top TV, the screen would work, but the volume was off. Yeah, we had 2 TVs going on at the same time. Yeah. This is the bar. And very, very famous people have been in this room, this bar. I even have pictures that, what's his name? Count Basie. Count Basie was,
And I'm here now.
Lena Horne, Bob Hope, Jack Benny, Marilyn Monroe, all these people. Sammy Davis were right in this room right here.
And now Esther Austin.
And Eddie Anderson Jr. I love her accent. I'm trying to develop it. There's some comedy in here, okay?
That's okay. You know.
Yeah, I can't help it. I told you I'm a prisoner. Yeah. So this is it. Yeah. So you can feel it. Look around. They're feeling it. Yeah. So the thing I try not to do, I'm gonna let you know right now. I don't believe in when you got human beings and stuff like that. It can't be commercial. And there are other places like this that try to get this spin, but once you wake up, it's pretty much as Get a little cup of coffee, some old coffee and some old bread, and you got to get out.
Yes.
Here, like the gentleman from Austria, he just said he checked out. Well, when you check out, that doesn't mean you have to leave. That means you can just kick it here as long as you want. But you're not going to have a bed tonight. But you can kick it here. Yeah, you just, because you may not have to go to your next destination immediately. So you allow people to experience the place and not like, I'm kicking you out, yeah. So you're going to get the most out of your money.
And do you provide lunch?
We provide breakfast.
Oh, breakfast.
We do. I know, it's almost, I know what she's trying to do. She's trying to play me on the lunch deal. We'll do lunch. All right? We'll do lunch. After we look at this interview. So this gentleman here, I used to have a hair like his.
Hello.
Way back.
Hello, how's it going?
Hi, guys.
I woke up and it was gone.
I'm Chris.
Hello, Chris.
But-
Rebecca. You're Rebecca.
But he is, he's a second time around.
Yes, yeah.
So he came back. So there, that must mean you kind of like this place a little bit, right?
Yeah, I told you about that, man.
You tell Bill about it now.
Definitely come back.
Yeah.
Come to Anderson's.
Incredible photographer, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
That's right. That's real. I wouldn't say that.
I'll have to get your details after.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you.
He's good. Thank you.
Oh, wow. This is the sort of stairs that I like to slide down.
Yeah.
I still
There
like
you
to
go.
do
We can try it now.
Yeah, I might get
Get you going. You know, we actually used to slide down here. We would get old boxes, and I would open them up, and we would bobsled all the way down, all the way to the ground here. It was incredible.
Brilliant. I might try the fried down.
Oh, it's incredible. It's a little bumpy. Yeah, it's a little bumpy. And when you're younger, you can kind of take those bumps. Well, so this is the mezzanine, of course. That's the front door. This is the living room. And some of this furniture is original. So, and we allow the guests to come in here. They play the piano.
May I sit?
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, that's a good spot for us to talk to. And some of these people that come to stay here, whether it be Americans or foreign, some of them are serious pianists. So it's incredible to come to my house and I've got somebody really playing the piano and I'm getting the benefits of that. It's insane. So it's just so many things when you open your home up. You get so many gifts.
That's right.
Give
And there's
it
so
to
much
them.
of that energetic sharing going
Yes.
on. And even
Yeah.
sometimes it might not be verbally, but there's an energy
Yes.
of
It's spirit.
increase,
It's
there's an
all
energy of
spirit.
abundance,
Sure.
and whatever is in that space of abundance, then
Yeah.
everybody's receiving.
Absolutely.
And that, as I'm talking to you and as we've walked through the house, there is the sense of peace and calm, and you just want to play as well, playfulness.
And guess what? Nobody would ever believe this is kind of sort of in the hood.
This is in the hood.
This is in the hood.
I'm in the hood.
You're in the hood.
Hey.
That's what I'm saying, baby. You're in the hood. Matter of fact, the neighbors, no one ever would have thought that I can bring Europeans
Into the
to the
hood.
hood. So I've even seen, because we have people checking in and checking out, and some of them are going to the metro. So you see all these Europeans and Asians and just from around the world, Africans. Not just, I'm talking about the real deal. Ethiopians, Brazilian, and they're all walking because it's a cul-de-sac, so it's only one way out. So the neighbors are actually sort of kind of freaked out that they're sitting on the porch like it's some kind of parade,
Wow.
sitting like this. I mean, it's entertaining to them to see that the neighborhood has so many different cultures. Diversity. Yeah.
Have they ever had a Bajan walking across there? My parents are from Barbados.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact-
I'll do the Bajan walk later in the hood.
You got to do the Bayesian. I'll do it with you. I'm gonna watch it. I catch y'all quick. Matter of fact, I tell people all the time. They say, "Well, have you been here? Have you been there?" I'm saying, "You know what? I've been around the world, and I didn't have to leave my backyard."
Oh, nice.
Get it? Really? It feels that way. Yeah. I still want to travel, but I'm just saying, just to meet people like the gentleman I just introduced you to from Austria. We were supposed to play basketball. I mean, it's that kind of thing. So you got to get to know the people. that's staying at your house. And this is not a commercial building, so you really want to know who's at your house.
That's right, yes.
And my mother still stays here. She's 86. Yeah, she's 80. She just turned 86, and she's in the master bedroom. She's not always there. Sometimes I have a place in Long Beach, like a beach house, kind of high rise, so I take her there. She thinks she's on vacation. She suffers from Alzheimer and dementia, but you would never know it. You would never know it. She doesn't remember stuff way back or whatever, but she still knows who I am. She knows her daughters, so it's all good. She's happy, strong, walks faster than me.
That's going to be easy. I mean, this chain's still ahead easy.
It is, and that's why I'm sitting like this. I was going to ask you to push me back this way. Because I got
Superman power, so you might just go right through the wall.
This actually has major significance. I just had somewhat of a scare. The doctors told me they checked my prostate about 3 months ago, and your prostate is your average prostate is between 0 and 4. Mine was at 96.6, and the doctors actually told me, "Why are you still living?" That's what I got 9 months ago. 9 months. Then I became crippled. I lost all my feeling in my body. I tried to get out of bed and slam. And I literally had to crawl like Spider-Man on the wall just to go to the restroom, the shower. And I made my way to Walgreens. Not to get no medicine, but to get some good-looking crutches. You know what I'm saying? So I made it here on crutches. Everybody like, "What's happening, Mr. Anderson?" I'm like, "The doctor said I'm supposed to be dead, but guess what? I'm still here." So 90 days later, the doctor just called me a couple of days ago, and they said, "I don't understand. How did you do what you just did?" They couldn't find nothing. It was all gone. At first, it was cancer all through my body. So I get the big chain as some sort of symbol. It has nothing to do. I'm not like super House Cali, but I'm not hallelujah. I'm not. You know what I mean? But it's a symbolism of revelation or resurrection. So it feels like I died and came back. Yeah. Now look, after this, now you show up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? This young lady who's filming. Her name is Patricia. You don't see her yet, but everybody's just showing up. So there's a reason. There's an absolute reason.
And your work isn't done yet anyway. There's still much more to be done.
Absolutely.
And
look,
you are leaving a legacy. There's your mother.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to can we grab mom with you?
Oh, yeah, we can grab moms. Hey, Sheila? Yeah. Bring moms up in here for a second. Bring my mom up here. Come on in, be nice. Don't get that little angry. Hey, filming, you better be nice. Look, she know how to be a show.
Hello.
Sit down
Hello,
for a
everybody.
second.
Hello, everybody.
Sit down for a second.
You deserve one?
Hello. Give me a kiss. Stop playing.
How are
This
you?
is my mommy.
Oh, this is nice.
Sit down.
Happy.
This is my mother. No kiss? She always hits me first. She always hits me first.
That's a lovely
Did I hit you back?
Not this time because we got company.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Thank you. But she usually, look, bald head, she slaps that head so, loudly too. It's embarrassing sometimes. How you doing otherwise?
I'm okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, Mom. I'm good.
Oh,
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is my mother. She just made 86. Yeah.
Happy.
And this is the reason for all my seasons. So you're right. I can't check out.
You can't.
I can't check out. I got so much to do.
You holding me?
Yeah, you know it, baby.
She's holding you
I'm your Superman. You know what I mean?
Man is cuckoo.
What does that say about you? I'm a product.
How are you feeling today, Mum?
Huh?
How are you feeling today?
I feel good.
Feel good.
Yeah, I feel real good.
And with this young man by your side, I'm sure you feel a lot better.
Now, yeah.
Yes.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, Mr. Anderson, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about your life, to talk about your father.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure to
It was a long
meet
trip.
Mum. And, for anyone who wants to fulfill their purpose, because when we started this conversation, it was about purpose.
Right.
And a lot of people actually don't know their purpose. They may find it, but a lot of people are still struggling. But for you, what piece of information can you share with people to say, if you want to do it, just step out in faith?
Have it all.
You know what? You kind of said it. I mean, I've always had you've got to be do or die. I mean, that's a little extreme, but that's absolutely it. You have to believe. You know, there's an old saying, but I'm going to have to challenge that old saying of seeing is believing, right? I'm going to challenge that one, though. My challenge is...
Is it taking a picture?
My challenge is believing is seeing. So you said something about faith. You have to believe it first.
That's right.
Before you can see. Without belief, you have no vision. You don't. So you need that faith first, because faith is
That's what drives you, isn't it?
it's a dark room with an open door, not afraid of what's in store.
Oh, well, you know that all.
That's right. That's right. So you have to walk in that door, and that room is dark. You can't see anything, but faith makes you walk right in there, and whatever is in the dark will soon come to the light. You go through your darkest days before you see the light. And so, you know what? It's not worth it in anything that you do if you don't get any scars. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I've got
That's it. And you guys, and ladies who have children, what a great, it's relative to what I'm saying, especially women who give something so beautiful like birth, right? That's a miracle. But before the birth, there's something called labor.
Yeah.
You get it? So that is connection. So you have to go through your labor, men, women. You have to go through a sense of labor, pains, labor, before you can give birth or the manifestation of anything. There's a natural order that we can't get around. Some people try to do shortcuts, and they try to do the fast thing, and sometimes it's all about the money. Oh, I'm going to get rich or rich. But if your first thing is, I just want to make money, then that means you'll do anything for money. And it's really not about money.
And you don't understand a lot of the processes, the in-between processes and learning that you need to learn, so that when you actually get there, it's sustainable.
You can keep it.
That's right.
You can't keep it if you do something. Listen, if your whole life is through the microwave, you get what I'm saying? So will the results, or so will the ends to the means. I mean, it will end so fast. Like I said, an overnight sensation usually takes about 15 years. So a lot of people are looking at different people like, oh man, I didn't even see them. He just blew up.
Yes.
He didn't just blow up. He had to do the work, or she had to do the work necessary to make this happen. It's a direct result, like you said, of the wisdom that came from not doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You got some of the insanity out of your system. So now you're building a foundation.
Definitely.
Not on sand. And now you kind of understand who you really are, and your calling, so to speak. Because you have to be still long enough to know who you really are.
Still a no.
Right, and you may not want to be somebody else. And that's what a lot of people are doing. You know, it's a life imitating art. A lot of times we're looking at the media and we want to be what we're seeing instead of finding out who we are and being the best that we can be. My mother even...
Did you see that?
Yeah, I know, but she actually...
It scared me.
She did about 25 years of taking care of developmentally disabled adults. That's where she came from. And that's what I saw. You get what I'm saying? And I saw this, and they lived with us. So you kind of, she made sure that we were really grounded and we understood all
Did
levels,
you see that again?
all levels of life. Will you stop while I'm talking?
Sorry.
Stay focused. Stay focused.
You know, in winding down, Ms. Anderson, with your father, because your father was one of the first black, you can, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the first black African American actors
Absolutely.
in Hollywood, and comedians.
Yes.
And for you, there's so many things that are quite symbolic about this conversation, about your journey, about your father's journey, about your wonderful mother.
Right.
So for you, for your father to have left that legacy of being the first black African American actor and comedian in Hollywood, That's huge in itself. It's symbolic on many different levels.
Yes, yes. Someone just sent me a link, matter of fact, of they had a forum with Denzel Washington.
Okay, Denzel.
And they were Denzel was, you know, was a Q&A. And one young lady went so far as to say, well, Denzel, I'm sure you like owe your success to people like Spike Lee, you know, all these new films that he was in, his breakout roles and stuff like that. And Denzel Washington said, no, no, no. You know what he do? He said, oh, no, 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 no. He said, I owe my success to Eddie Rochester Anderson.
Oh, Lord.
Get it? And that's on Facebook. And Denzel, if you hear this,
If you say,
Call me.
you too. Denzel, you need to call us because we got a little something to talk
All right,
about.
look at us.
Matter of fact, no, be serious. I have intentions to get with the city of Los Angeles because they named the street after my father. But there's one sidewalk right in front of this house, and I'd like it to be recognized to actually start the Walk of Fame. And I would love, seriously, only because of what I heard Denzel say, I would love for him to be one of the first stars. One of the first stars to be in front of my father's house, which he had said, right, that he owes his success to. I just think that's powerful. That's a powerful connection. So I would be honored, truly, I'd be honored to put a star in your name in front of my father's house. Real talk.
This is a really nice come down to this conversation. It's a nice finale, don't you think? And I'd just like to say thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Mum. Thank you. And you know, for anyone who wants to just take that leap of faith or believe. You've got to believe. Take the leap of faith and you can create. We're all creators. Everything that we have, everything that we are about was once a thought and is a creation of somebody. You've got that within you. You've just got to find it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wave to him, Mom.
Wave.
Come on in here. It's a family thing.
Hi, baby.
Yeah. Thank you.
He's so cute. Look at him. Oh, man.
Oh.